ಮಾಡೋಣ. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Chaitanyamishwaram Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Welcome all for Bhagavatam study. One of the best thing as a human we can do, study Srimad Bhagavatam, which is non-different from Krishna, especially in Kali Yuga. So we read Canto 1, Chapter 15, Text 9. Can somebody read? Has it been allocated? Anybody?
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. I am allocated, Prabhuji.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna. Sir, Canto.
Your voice is breaking, bro. Not able to hear you. Mariappan Prabhu. No, we are not able to hear. Anybody else? Others are able to hear Mariappan Prabhu?
No, Prabhuji.
No, Mariappan Prabhu, I think voice is breaking. Internet weak. I don't know. Can you try again now? No. Yat tejasas nrupas shiro mrgam aham makahartha. Prabhuji, your voice is breaking, Prabhu. Not able to hear you. Aryo nujas tava gaya yutu sattva briyaha tena hratta pramahata nata makhaya bhupa yan moshithastad anayan balim advartete. Translation purport. Maria Prabhu, I think your voice is breaking. Not able to hear. Somebody else can read quickly.
Translation and purport by His Divine A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Your respectable younger brother, who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace, Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairava Yajna, but they were thus released. Later, they paid tribute to your majesty. Purport. Jarasandha was a very powerful king of Magadha, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Brihadratha, was also a very prosperous and powerful king of Magadha, but he had no son, although he married two daughters of the king of Kashi, Being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the two queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest, he was benedicted by one great rishi to have a son, and he gave him one mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so and were very soon pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the right time approached, the queens delivered one child in two parts, one from each of the queens' wombs. The two parts were thrown in the forest where a great she-demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the two parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she-demon was known as Jara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with a nice child. The king was very pleased with the she-demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she-demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the child was surnamed Jarasandha, or one who was joined by Jara, the she-demon. In fact, this Jarasandha was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon Viprachitti, the saint by whose benedictions the queens bore. The child was called Chandra Kaushika, who foretold of the child before his father Brihadratha. Since Jarasandha possessed demonic qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Lord Shiva, the lord of ghostly and demonic men. Ravana was a great devotee of Shiva, and so also Jarasandha. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Mahabhairava, Shiva, and by his military power, he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher before Mahabhairava. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairava or Kala Bhairava in the province of Bihar, formerly called Magadha. Jarasandha was a relative of Kamsa, the maternal uncle of Krishna, and therefore, after Kamsa's death, King Jarasandha became a great enemy of Krishna, and there were many fights between Jarasandha and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarasandha might not be killed. Therefore, a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna together went to Jarasandha in the dress of poor Brahmanas and begged charity from the king Jarasandha. Jarasandha never refused charity to any Brahmana, and he performed many sacrifices also, yet he was not on par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna asked Jarasandha for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarasandha would fight with Bhima only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarasandha, and Bhima and Jarasandha fought every day for several days. Bhima became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarasandha's being joined together as an infant, and thus Bhima dissected him again and so killed him. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairava were thus released by Bhima. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to King Yudhishthira. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Arjuna is narrating to Yudhishthira. Your respectable younger brother, who possesses the strength of the 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairava Yajna, but they were thus released. Later, they paid tribute to your majesty. So, Yudhishthira was asking Arjuna, looking at his disappointed face, what happened. Now, Arjuna is narrating what all things he has done. In the previous verses, you would have read what Arjuna has told Like because of Krishna's presence, because Krishna's power, what all things he could do. Now he's saying because his mercy, because of his grace, Krishna's grace, he could kill Jarasandha. Of course, it's not Arjuna who killed Jarasandha in this particular case. Prabhupada in the purport explains the background of Jarasandha, what kind of the lineage he had, who was his father, and by the mercy of that father and by the mercy of another rishi, he got the two queens got two children, not two children, like a half born. So they were thrown in the forest, and when this demoness joined together, that child grew up. So this is how Jarasandha and named because of the Jara demon, he has named Jarasandha. And also because he was joined together, that's how the finally Bhima could kill. So Prabhupada explains the whole purport, how the Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhima went to ask for begging for a fight. So he chose Bhima. In that, finally, the so many days fight, Bhima could not kill Jarasandha. Jarasandha was not an ordinary person; he was very powerful. But finally, when Krishna gave him a idea, because each time it separates, they join together. So when they separate together, then he could kill him. So this is how Jarasandha been killed. So here the point is that Arjuna is saying, because Krishna's presence, because Krishna's blessings, we could kill Jarasandha. And Jarasandha had brought so many people, so many small kings, whom he will kill or offer as a sacrifice to the Mahabhairava, Lord Shiva. That's a kind of a the sacrifice he used to do. Prabhupada also quotes how Ravana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. But finally, Lord Ram came and killed Ravana. Here, Krishna made sure that Jarasandha had been killed. So this is the story here. We'll move on to the next. Yeah, the important point here is that the Arjuna is bringing out is that how we are dependent on Krishna. The depending on Krishna, how is saved. So the whole dynasty and how these demons offer their prayers later. Okay, we'll move on to the next sloka, 10. Somebody can read. It's been allocated or? Mayappan, now is okay to read. Can you try now? That time we were disconnecting, voice was not coming.
Yes, I can read, Prabhu.
Yeah, plus go ahead, please. Yeah. 10th one
Hare
again.
Krishna, chapter Canto 1, chapter 15, text 10. Patyanyas tavati maga kilta magabhisheka slakishta saru kabaram kitavai sabayam sprustam vikirya pataya patitasru mukya yastat striyo krita atesa vimukta skesa. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which had been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time, she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes. Purport. Queen Draupadi had a beautiful bunch of hair which had sanctified in the ceremonial function of Rajasuya
Yeah.
Yajna. But when she was lost in a bed,
Dushasana.
Dushasana touched her glorified hair to insult her. Draupadi then fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna decided that all the wives of Dushasana and company should have their hair loosened as a result of the battle of Kurukshetra. Thus, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after all the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra died in the battle, all the wives of family were obliged to loosen their hair as widows. In other words, all the wives of Kuru family became widows because of Dushasana's insulting a great devotee of Lord. The Lord can tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreant because the Father tolerates even insults from the Son, but he never tolerates insults upon his devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forgo all the results of pious acts and benedicts also.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So further Arjuna is saying how Krishna protected Draupadi. So he is giving a example like Draupadi is sanctified or pure lady who was touched by demon like Dushasana. Of course, in the game of dice, Shakuni cheated the Yudhishthira Maharaj, and with that loss, so they lost their wife Draupadi also, and Dushasana dragged her into the palace and touched her hair. And in the process, we know that how when Draupadi called out to Krishna, "Hey Krishna, Govinda," that's the time Krishna gave him unlimited sari. And in the process, after that, the Prabhupada mentions here that because Dushasana touched the hair of the Draupadi, whole Kuru wife, the Kuru Vamsha, the wives become widows, means all the sons been killed. Now, one thing we can understand here, of course, Krishna saves his devotees. That's a kind of a prime lesson here. Another important lesson is that if we are in the company of one bad person, we'll all have to take the the result of that. Many times we feel that, yeah, I've not done anything. Why I'm suffering? Because I'm in that company of that people. Like, for example, here, those wives of Kauravas, they are not done any sin as such, to be honest. But because they are wives of the Kuru family, they are all suffering. Because their husbands been killed, they become widow. So the company with whom we are, working or we are staying, that makes a lot of difference. Whose association we take, that's what makes difference. We'll have to suffer for them. That's why Prabhupada always say that satsanga, keep a company of only devotees, not non-devotees. So this is the important lesson we should understand. Because what is a sangha means? There are two things: giving sangha, taking sangha, giving association, taking association. So sangha means listening to somebody or getting influenced by somebody. That is taking sangha. Influencing others or advising others, giving sangha. So we as a practicing devotees, we should give sangha to others, give association to others, not take. We should not take instruction from materialistic people. We should not get influenced their thought process. Because especially those who work in the corporate world or the companies, there are people who are materialistic or sometimes atheistic. So we should be very careful not to get influenced by a thought process. Possible, whenever we get opportunity, we should give them back. Give them Krishna conscious message. Give them something so that they can change, not we get changed. So this is an important point. Otherwise, if we take their sangha, we'll have to suffer. We'll be, part of that group. Like Bhishma, even though the great devotee, because he was with the Kauravas, he had to go, get killed. The Drona, the same thing happened. So here the Prabhupada mentions those wives of Kuru, they had not done directly any sin, but because they were wives of the Kuru, and especially here mentioned Dushasana. Dushasana, under the instruction of Duryodhana, did that heinous crime of touching a pure lady like Draupadi. So, result of that, Whole Kuru dynasty is killed. Not only Kuru dynasty, 64 crores of people killed, because those assemblies, those the soldiers who are worked for Kaurava, they are also killed. So that's a result, when like, for example, if some bad people are there, tsunami comes, maybe in the process, some good people also get killed, because karma, the mass karma will get impact. That should be very, very careful. So not to get associated with the bad people. And also Prabhupada talks about the here Vaishnava Aparad. Prabhupada says Lord can tolerate any insult upon himself by the miscreants, because father can tolerate insult from a son. Because for Krishna, whether demon or devata, they are all his sons. Demons also his sons. Krishna himself says, Aham bija pradapita. He says, I'm seed giving father to every living entity. So as a father, he'll tolerate the insults of his own sons, but he cannot tolerate any insults, any offenses to his pure devotees. So that's what happened here. When Draupadi was touched, Krishna was furious. Krishna wanted to finish all the Kauravas, and not only Kauravas, those kings who have supported them. So that's why Vaishnavas never should be offended. We should be very, very careful not to insult, not to offend any Vaishnava. So sometimes people may ask, then who is Vaishnava? How do I know who is Vaishnava? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came to Kulina Grama, I think I would have told earlier also, the people in that village asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, you say that you have to serve Vaishnavas. They asked, who is that Vaishnava? How do we know? Then Mahaprabhu says that whoever chants Krishna's name once, Krishna is Vaishnava. So we have to serve such people. So again, lesson for us that whoever chants Krishna's name once, we should serve them. And next year, when Mahaprabhu came to the same village, the villagers asked again, Mahaprabhu, who is that Vaishnava we should serve? Then Mahaprabhu says, whoever chants Krishna's name always, satatha, not just 16 rounds, always, 24/7, 365, he is Vaishnava, we should serve him. Third year, when Mahaprabhu came there, same villagers asked the same question again. This time Mahaprabhu says, by seeing whose face everybody else gets chants the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He is that Vaishnava. Yesterday during Gaura Purnima, His Grace Radhanamana Prabhu was mentioning that some question was asked, how do you identify Vaishnava? So this is by seeing somebody's face, we are able to remember Krishna. That is Vaishnava. That's why our Tilaka, Kantimala, this all helps, because these are all symbols of Krishna. Just by putting Tilak, people may see, and they just seeing Tilak, they say Hare Krishna. They may not say good morning, good evening, good night, Hare Krishna. The Krishna name will come. The Kantimala will help. So that's why the way we dress, way we present makes a difference. And with whom associate, and at any cost, do not offend any Vaishnava. So this is the important lesson we can learn from here. Okay, we will try to read one more. Somebody can read 11.
I will read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Canto 1, chapter 15, text 11. Yo no jugopavana yetya duranta krachra durvasaso arirachita ayuthagra bhugyah शाखानसिस्तं उपयुज्य एतास्त्रिलोकीं तृप्ताम् अमंस्ता सलीले विनिमग्न संगः. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. During our exile, Durvasa Muni, who eats with his 10,000 disciples, intrigued with our enemies to put us in dangerous trouble. At that time, he, Lord Krishna, simply by accepting the remnants of food, saved us. By his accepting food thus, the assembly of Munis, while bathing in the river felt sumptuously fed, and all the three worlds were also satisfied. Purport. Durvasa Muni, a powerful mystic Brahmana determined to observe the principles of religion with great vows and under strict austerities. His name is associated with many historical events, and it appears that the great mystic could be both easily satisfied and easily annoyed, like Lord Shiva. When he was satisfied, he could do tremendous good to the servitor, but if he was dissatisfied, he could bring about the greatest calamity. Kumari Kunti at her father's house used to minister all kinds of services to all great Brahmanas, and being satisfied with her good reception, Durvasa Muni benedicted her with a power to call any demigod she desired. It is understood that he was a plenary incarnation of Lord Shiva, and thus he could be either easily satisfied or annoyed. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and by Lord Shiva's order, he accepted the priesthood of King Svetaketu because of the king's performance of sacrifice for 100 years. Sometimes he used to visit the parliamentary assembly of the heavenly kingdom of Indradeva. He could travel in space by his great mystic powers, and it is understood that he traveled a great distance through space, even up to the Vaikuntha planets beyond material space. He traveled all these long distances within 1 year during his quarrel with King Ambarisha, the great devotee and emperor of the world. He had about 10,000 disciples, and wherever he visited and became a guest of the great Kshatriya kings, he used to be accompanied by a number of followers. Once he visited the house of Duryodhana, the enemy cousin of Maharaja Yudhishthira. Duryodhana was intelligent enough to satisfy the Brahmana by all means, and the great Rishi wanted to give some benediction to Duryodhana. Duryodhana knew his mystic powers, and he knew also that the mystic Brahmana, if dissatisfied, could cause some havoc, and thus he designed to engage the Brahmana to show his wrath upon his enemy cousins, the Pandavas. When the Rishi wanted to award some benedictions to Duryodhana, the latter wished that he should visit the house of Maharaja Yudhishthira, who was the eldest and chief among all his cousins. But by his request, he would go to him after he had finished his meals with his queen, Draupadi. Duryodhana knew that after Draupadi's dinner, it would be impossible for Maharaja Yudhishthira to receive such a large number of Brahmana guests, and thus the Rishi would be annoyed and would create some trouble for his cousin Maharaja Yudhishthira. That was the plan of Duryodhana. Durvasa Muni agreed to this proposal, and he approached the king in exile according to the plan of Duryodhana after the king and Draupadi had finished their meals. On his arrival at the door of Maharaja Yudhishthira, he was at once well received, and the king requested him to finish his noontime religious rites in the river, for by that time the foodstuff would be prepared. Durvasa Muni, along with his large number of disciples, went to take a bath in the river, and Maharaja Yudhishthira was in great anxiety about the guest. As long as Draupadi had not taken her meals, food could be served to any number of guests, but Rishi, by the plan of Duryodhana, reached there after Draupadi had finished her meals. When the devotees are put into difficulty, they have an opportunity to recollect the Lord with rapt attention. So, Draupadi was thinking of Lord Krishna in that dangerous position, and the all-pervading Lord could at once know the dangerous position of his devotees. He therefore came there on the scene and asked Draupadi to give whatever food she might have in her stock. On her being so requested by the Lord, Draupadi was sorrowful because the Supreme Lord asked her for some food and she was unable to supply it at that time. She said to the Lord that the mysterious dish which she had received from the sun god could supply any amount of food if she herself had not eaten. But on that day, she had already taken her meals, and thus they were in danger. By expressing her difficulties, she began to cry before the Lord, as only a woman would do in such a position. The Lord, however, asked Draupadi to bring up the cooking parts to see if there was any particle of food left. And on Draupadi's doing so, the Lord found some particle of vegetable sticking to the pot. The Lord at once picked it up and ate it. After doing so, the Lord asked Draupadi to call for her guest, the company of Durvasa. Bhima was sent to call them from the river. Bhima said, "Why are you delaying, sirs? Come on, the food is ready for you." But the Brahmanas, because of Lord Krishna's accepting a little particle of food, felt sumptuously fed even while they were in the water. They thought that since Maharaja Yudhishthira must have prepared many valuable dishes for them, and since they were not hungry and could not eat, the king would feel very sorry, so it was better not to go there. Thus, they decided to go away. This incident proves that the Lord is the greatest mystic and therefore he is known as Yogeshwara. Another instruction is that every householder must offer food to the Lord, and the result will be that everyone, even a company of guests numbering 10,000, will be satisfied because of the Lord's being satisfied. That is the way of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very long purport. Anyway, we'll not discuss about story, Akshaya Patra story. Everybody will be knowing. So the point Arjuna is saying that because of Lord Krishna, they were saved from Durvasa Muni's anger. Otherwise, Durvasa would have cursed them. So Prabhupada in details explains who is Durvasa, what is his background. He's the incarnation of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is called Ashutosha. Ashutosha means who can be pleased or easily, who can get angry easily. And Durvasa was like that only. Prabhupada also talks about how he was, kind of fought with the Ambarish Maharaj. He could all the way to go to Brahma, Shiva, and finally, when Vaikunta, Lord Vishnu, when Krishna Sudarshan Chakra was chasing. But that time also, Lord Vishnu says, Aham Bhakta Paradhina. He says, I'm not independent, I'm surrendered to my devotees. So Durvas had to come back and surrender to Ambarish Maharaj. Prabhupada also mentions how Kunti satisfied Durvasa. Because of that, she got a boon. With that boon, she got different devatas to give her child. Like from Yamaraj, you got Yudhishthira, and from Indra got Arjuna, from Vayu got Bhima, for Ashwini Kumaras got Nakala Savideva, Madri got Nakala Savideva. So this is how I mentioned. And here in this particular incident, how when Durvasa came to Duryodhana's house, Duryodhana pleased Durvasa. Then when Durvasa wanted to give some benediction, he said, please go to my brother Yudhishthira's palace, because not palace, they were in a forest. So Duryodhana knew that Yudhishthira cannot satisfy 10,000 disciples of Durvasa. So Durvasa will curse. So this is the kind of bad intention of Duryodhana. But somehow Krishna saved them, because in that Akshaya Patra, even one grain, when Krishna ate, all these 10,000 people are satisfied. But the concluding part, the Prabhupada writes in this, is that this incident proves that Lord is the greatest mystic. So few lessons Prabhupada gives. Lord is the greatest mystic. We cannot cheat anyone. We can cheat anyone, but not Krishna. I can cheat myself, I can cheat others, but he cannot cheat Krishna. He is the greatest cheater, he is a great mystic. And he is a Yogeshwara. Another instruction Prabhupada says that every householder should offer food. So we should offer to Krishna, and prasad should be offered. Prabhupada some places writes that every householder, after the bhogas offered to Krishna, the prasad is ready, they should come out of the house and call out, is anybody hungry there? Is anybody hungry there? Is anybody? Then we distribute the food. And if nobody comes, only the householder should eat. This is the mood in which, that's why Prabhupada started this, the free distribution of prasad, Akshaya Patra, So as much as food distribution has to be done, Prabhupada started this food distribution, in that time itself. So we should follow this instruction of Srila Prabhupada as much as possible, distribute prasadam. So this is one of the key aspects of Srila Prabhupada's. And also Prabhupada says that even a company of guests numbering 10,000 will be satisfied because Krishna is satisfied. when Krishna is satisfied, everybody else will be satisfied. So with this, I'll stop here. Devotees can share their comments if any. Quickly, already 36. Yeah, who want to start? Maybe Asha Mataji, go ahead. Anyone? Please, Asha Mataji, want to start? Yeah, good.
Krishna always serves his devotees, whose association I take makes a difference. There comes the importance of satsanga, and also I should give sangha to others. Krishna protects all, but protects a little more his devotees. We should never offend any Vaishnavas. Lord is the greatest. Nobody can cheat him. And the importance of cooking food, offering to Krishna, and distributing it to others. That's my takeaway,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you. Archana Mataji, want to say anything? Bhaskar Prabhu,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
About that one, Prabhu, that I think today it was straightforward that we should. Krishna's power is that one that if we are associated with Krishna, means he can fulfill all the desire and he can protect us. Like Pandavas, they were in danger situation. Like Durvasa Muni, he might have cursed or whatever, but Krishna has helped. But Draupadi asked help, then only he helped, and they were great to Vaishnava, so Krishna helped them. I think that is the best part.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Deepak Prabhu, want to say anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
We should always give in the association of devotees, and that is the importance of satsanga. We should be very careful not to get influenced by others. That is my main takeaway, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah, Lakshmi Mataji.
Nothing, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Mataji told.
Mariappan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna saved and protected his pure devotees who surrender. At the same time, bad or wrong association will fetch all sufferings and misfortune for anybody. So we have to be careful with the association as well as bad association. We should not have bad association that will bring in all sufferings and misfortune. And especially due to Duryodhana and Dusashana, every male member of Kuru dynasty have been killed. That's a big lesson for me. And as a father, Lord Krishna tolerates, but he never tolerates when pure devotees and Vaishnavas are insulted. And punishment is definite. And symbols, Vaishnava dress, association are crucial factors which I must always ensure. And Lord is Yogeshwara. From the story of Akshay Patra, I understand Lord is a Yogeshwara, and bad intention of Duryodhana. Supreme Lord can never be cheated. Every householder must offer prasadam to Lord. If Lord is satisfied, every living entities are ensured satisfaction. So always I must, as a grahastha, I must ensure whatever I eat, I must first offer to Lord and see that Lord is satisfied, and then I must take prasadam. That much I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Ramesh Krishna Prabhu, it's okay to speak?
Nothing, Prabhu.
Okay. Sumit Prabhu, same thing.
Yes, Prabhuji. So all the three verses actually highlights the protection of the Lord. So how Lords protect his devotees, and he is ready to do anything for the love of his devotees. So in the first verse, that's Jarasandh, how Lord helped in killing Jarasandh, giving the guidance to Bhima, and after second verse, how Draupadi, he saved Draupadi. And in the third verse, the Akshaya Patra story. So by that we know like what is the power of devotional service. So when Krishna is pleased, even the most impossible situations can be turned around. So how the devotion of Draupadi was there to Krishna. When she was in distress, she invokes Lord mercy by praying to him, and Lord given some miraculous interventions, like he given the Kuru Sabha. So that is how the Lord protects the devotees. So even the small offerings we provide to the Lord. As we see in the Akshapatra story, Lord take one small piece of the grain, and that he said, "I am now. My hunger is satisfied." At the same time, all the disciples of Durvasa Muni and Durvasa Muni feel full. They are not more hungry. So that proves that once Lord is satisfied, then everything is satisfied. Just like the root of the tree, we are nourishing with the water, and the whole tree become nourished. So same way, the Lord satisfaction we should focus on. And as Lord is known as Yogeshwara, we see how Durvasa Muni has the power to create blessings and curses. But because Krishna is the ultimate mystic, the Yogeshwara, he has the ability to orchestrate miracles and turn like resolve the most complex situations with ease. So that highlights the distinction about the Lord's supremacy and importance of surrenders. Like Draupadi was desperately praying to Krishna at the time of that Chirara. So that was the example of complete surrender to Krishna. She just puts both the hands up and she was calling Krishna. So in tough situations, devotees should turn to Krishna with full faith at all times, but especially tough times, we should pray to the Lord, and we should have full faith that He will give protection. And in the end, how the offering food to the Lord is very important. So that is even small quantities of like Draupadi fed to the Lord, and the whole disciples and Durvasa Muni felt full. So that is the example of how small offering to the Lord, Lord is acknowledging that, and He's accepting that. So yeah, that's all, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Umar Shankar Prabhu, anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Everything has been covered, but one thing is that this Jarasandha story as well as the Akshayapatra, this one we heard as stories, but today I can see that reference to that particular slokas. That was really meaningful to hear that stories that we had read from the scriptures. That one, and also the Vaishnava etiquette. And apart from the Vaishnava etiquette, we should also follow that. In our true sense of mind and thing. And association should be carefully chosen so that we should be having association only with the devotees, not with be influenced by the materialistic person. Hare Krishna. That's the today's take.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you all for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyavach paditana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. See you tomorrow, same time. Please join.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams.
Hare Krishna.